The weather is warming up and construction season is in full swing, of course. There's a lot happening in downtown Boise, so we thought we would go outside and take a look at some of the projects that are going up downtown. This is the 74-unit Vanguard apartments from Vism Development. Well underway. A lot of the exterior work is done. They haven't started to put the facade on it yet, but a lot of it is underway here. The crane has been working for quite a while. I think you're going to see that up for another few weeks. This project is pretty interesting. As we come around on the front street side here a little bit, you'll see it sits where the old BizPrint warehouse used to be here in downtown Boise. Just beyond it, you can't see it, is the American Cleaning Supply business, and then obviously the Grove Hotel even beyond that. So going up 8 stories, they've got all 8 stories framed in and ready to go. All apartments except downstairs. There's a small retail space on the front street side along the ground floor. This is the Vanguard from Vism Development. This is a nice shot on the 6th floor of the new parking garage attached to the Home 2 Suites by Hilton downtown, and you can see there are 2 apartment projects underway here, and it's interesting because they have been developed separately, even though it's from the same developer, from Clay Carley and a group of folks that he is working with. On the left-hand side, you've got the Lucy Apartments, still working on framing of this. They poured the concrete podium. The first 2 stories you can see there. They did an all-night pour, in fact, probably 6 weeks ago. And then above that, some stick construction. This building is actually going to go up 7 stories, so you see 5 there. They've got 2 more to go to get that one up. This is going to be interesting because it's going to have about 50 apartment units, and the majority of those are going to be for folks who make 60% of the area median income. So this is hopefully going to add some affordability here, right in the downtown core. I mean, you can see how close we are to everything. It is literally right on the Basque block. The Capitol, the Grove is just a few blocks away, so adding some affordability right in the core of downtown. And then next to it over here on the right, obviously this is a larger building. This is called the Thomas Logan. This is from the same group. It has gone up all 6 stories it's going to go, and is going to have 114 units. In between, you're going to see how the building's kind of gap there. Right down there. Apologize, I've got a new gimbal and I'm just learning how to use it, so a little rough here. But you can see right down in there, there will be a courtyard between the 2 buildings. And then you can't see it from this vantage point, but around on the back, so around over here, they're going to put an apartment building. I'm sorry, an office building in. So there's actually going to be 3 buildings on this site. You might remember this was for a long time an empty parking lot. China Blue is right behind this building, and it's not called that anymore. It's called Strangelove. But doing a lot on this block with, 114 plus 50 units, so 175 apartment units and some retail and some other pieces. This is the Lucy and the Thomas Logan at the corner of Grove Street and 6th in downtown Boise. This is Hearth along 4th Street between Broad and Myrtle in downtown Boise. This project is from Boise-based Local Construct, and if you've been following Boise Dev for a while, you might be like, well, I thought that was called the Cartier, and it was. That was the project name when they announced it, and they picked up a brand name for marketing of Hearth. When we first reported on it, we said Cartier will bring a Z to downtown Boise, and you can see kind of the Z shape here as it slopes back away from the street. Obviously, you can see a lot of the exterior work is done, most of the windows in here, but they still got scaffolding up, and interior work does not appear to have begun. This project is going to have 163 apartments, so fairly significant number of units. Along Broad Street over here, there'll be retail space with patios. You'll remember the Capital City Development Corporation built what they call a live district, which puts some streetscapes and other improvements in along Broad Street. And this project, Hearth, will take advantage of that. So this is the backside of the Hearth project, which will open this fall at 4th and Broad. And this really shows the situation, I think, You go 1 block away, and this is Jules on 3rd, our next project. This one you might have previously known as River Caddis. It got a new name as well, a little bit more marketable name, in Jules on 3rd. This project is going to have 173 apartment units, and then a fairly large parking garage component as well, with space for 400 cars. Now, that's a lot for 173 apartment units, and the reason for that is that Ada County employees will use a portion of the parking. This project is just about a block from the Ada County Courthouse, so a lot of parking there. The apartments are mostly going to be along Myrtle Street, which will face Julia Davis Park, rather, and then you can see some retail space down there at the corner at Jules on 3rd. Okay, we did 4th Street and 3rd Street. We skipped 2nd. 1st is the Winco Foods parking lot. Now we're here at Avenue A, and this is, another apartment complex. This one is from CDG. It doesn't have a name as far as I'm aware so far, but it is going to have the most units of any of the projects we're going to tell you about today. This has 243 apartment units as well as parking. It is right across from Julia Davis Park as well. It's right on the busy Front Street connector, the end of the freeway here, but some significant apartment units going up on this block as well, right by Winco Foods, and really kind of showing again just how many apartments are going up. Like I said, we've got more than 1,100 apartments in some state of development in downtown Boise. This is 270 East Myrtle. Okay, so we'll take a break from all the apartment projects and look at maybe the place that a lot of those people living in those apartments will soon be eating, and this is the Warehouse Food Hall project. This is in the 8th Street Marketplace district. You might know it as Bodo. We are right here along 8th Street, and this is an ambitious project. Hendricks Commercial Properties bought the bulk of the Bodo development, and what they're doing is kind of twofold. One, they're completely redoing the facade, as you can see. The outside of this building kind of had I would say, like an early 2000s suburban shopping mall look to it, and they're covering really all of that up with new materials, including brick and other things. The clock tower that was over there in the corner is gone, and then all along here, all along this first floor, is going to be a food hall. And you'll remember this used to have a whole bunch of retailers, big, large retailers, including Urban Outfitters, Joseph A. Bank, Upcycle was in here. We had Cafe D'Arte down there on the corner. It goes all the way around and will stretch behind the theater, which is also closed in this building, to the old Office Depot location. So all the kind of big box retail that was in this building is gone. It's all closed. Some of it had closed before Hendricks bought it, and then as Hendricks came in, they kind of ended leases for this just very large food hall concept. And we can't really get in there too well behind the porta potties, but they're also doing the interior work on this. Now, I mentioned that the Edwards Regal Theater had closed. The Hendricks folks had told me they hope to get a new theater in there, kind of a smaller, more boutique concept. We haven't had an update on that, but we'll see if that comes along. This is the Warehouse at Front and 8th Street in downtown. At the corner of 11th and Main Street, Revolve Development is pretty much wrapped up work on this project. It is called B-Side. This is the old Safari Inn, you'll remember. It's got some existing retail along the ground floor that predated the project. You've got the Atlas Bar, Foot Dynamics, and several other tenants. But on the 2nd and 3rd floor, they converted the former apartment rooms, frankly, from the Safari Inn into a series of mostly studio, although a couple of one-bedroom apartments for these 42 units here. This project is done. The B-Side is accepting tenants now. We peeked in the window over there a minute ago, and the lobby has some game machines in it and is ready to go at the B-Side at 11th and Main. Over here at 11th and Bannock, this is the new West Side Urban Park from the City of Boise, the Capital City Development Corporation, and actually some private parties. This is going to be known as Cheire Buckner Webb Park. The city just announced that last week. They had initially looked at another name, the CCDC did. They were going to name this 11th Street Commons, but the CCDC board decided that that was a little flat, I think is probably the best way to put it. And so went out to a new naming process, took suggestions from the city and others, and settled on Cheire Buckner Webb. She was the first female black legislator in Idaho, just left office about a year and a half ago. And this park is kind of interesting. It's going to have some green space. They've actually put in some larger mature trees here. You can kind of see out there in the distance. It'll have events space and more. It sits right next to this building, which is the new 11th and Idaho building. This project opened late last year and is complete. Just a few tenants have moved in so far. Opening an office project, I think, in the teeth of COVID makes things a little bit slower as far as leasing, but they have added a few tenants here. So this is the 11th and Idaho Park, Cheire Buckner Webb Park. Okay, this is the last stop on our tour. This is called the Addison. It's along the Boise River Greenbelt on one. This is called the Addison. It's along the Boise River Greenbelt on one side, Park Boulevard on the other. This is pretty large. In fact, from where I'm standing, you can't even see all of it if I try and get out here. It goes back there. They've actually saved a lot of the trees here along the Greenbelt. This project is from Gardner Company and the Harry W. Morrison Foundation. It's about 236 apartment units with roughly 350 parking stalls. What's interesting about this one is the apartments actually wrap the parking garage on all sides. So there's apartments that face the river here on the Greenbelt side, and then there's also apartments on the Park Boulevard side that kind of face the foothills. We're right out here by the Boise River Ram. Now, again here, more apartments or more parking spaces than apartments. This is because the lot before the apartments went up, you might remember, was a parking lot. A lot of people tailgated here for Boise State games. And some of the users in the area, including the plaza across the street, and I believe the Harry W. Morrison Foundation building next door, use some of the parking on that lot, so it had to be replaced. And so here we are with parking at 350 spaces for the Addison. Now, the exterior work is just about done here. I did notice there's kind of a couple spots. You can see the blue there. They're still working on it, but interior work is well underway. In fact, you can see lights are on in some of those apartment units. So making a lot of progress here at the Addison from Gardner Company on Park Boulevard. Okay, so that's our construction tour of the downtown Boise area for June, and those are just the projects that are going up. What's interesting is there's a whole bunch of things that are in progress or haven't started to be built yet, but are maybe trying to get approvals. One of those is the story that we just broke this week of a 19-story proposal at the corner of 6th and Front in downtown. This would bring like 200 apartments. 19 stories is pretty tall, so we'll see if that one works its way through. You've got Ball Ventures Allquest, which is trying to get approval on the ICCU tower. That's going to have medical office and office facilities and all sorts of stuff in it. We also have Scott Ludwig, who hopes to build a condo tower called the London in downtown Boise. We need to get an update and see where that stands. You have a whole bunch of apartments that are going up in Boise's West End that are working their way through the permitting process. So we've been at this for 5 years at Boise Dev, and we're going to keep working on it because we know that these things are important. And it's not just downtown, of course, all across the region, but we thought we would give a little stroll of what's going on downtown, and you get projects like this and all over town. So that's what's going up. We'll keep you up to date. Of course, you can find all these projects in the Boise Dev Project Tracker. I should mention that. It's a good place to get everything you need to know on what's going up around Boise.